Good morning, Cumberland County, and welcome to the Boiling Point, the Watchdog Report. And this is Mariana, and today we are here to howl out some truths. So, when it comes to the West Shore School District, we have been covering them for about maybe 2 or 3 years now. And does anything surprise us anymore from these people? Absolutely not. But today we are here to discuss facts and to discuss a issue that occurred in the school board meeting about 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, we had a mom and dad come to speak to the school board about their special need child. The claims that the parents made were that the child has an IEP and that the IEP does state that they have to be allowed to go to the bathroom as needed, okay, and due to a condition that the child has. And the child requested to go to the bathroom, and that request was denied several times to the child. So the child went to the bathroom on their own accord because they really needed to go. So when coming back to class, the claims are that the teacher's aide grabbed the child by the arm, restrained the child by the arm, took him to another classroom in which the child was then spoken down to and berated by the teacher's aide and the actual teacher. So when the child asked for the teacher's aide to let go of their arm, the teacher's aide reply was like, if you don't listen to me, why should I listen to you? Kind of a deal. Now you can find all this on the West Shore School District page and just go to the last school board meeting and you will find it there. Okay. So the Boiling Point decided to put this on their page, okay, to inform parents of what was going on with this particular parent, because this is something, special education, IEPs should be respected. Teachers and aides are required to know what is in that child's IEP. And if they don't know, listen, take a minute to buy the computer, pull it up and read it, right? But that's not what happened here. Okay, so we put it on our page and we had a ninny, okay, decide that she wants to pick a fight with one of the staff members at the boiling point, not me per se, but a staff member at the boiling point, claiming that these allegations were not so and that the boiling point was giving misinformation. Well, how can we be giving misinformation when you have the video right there for your review? Either way, this took an interesting spin. And this is what I mean. This ninny puts on Facebook the following statement, in which I have an issue with this statement that she is making. Now, I chose not to put the ninny's name out there because I don't want her to become a public mockery. And, people just move by emotion, or if they have a bone to pick, which I believe was the case with her. She had a chip on her shoulder and a bone to pick. But in doing so, she did disclose some interesting things here. Okay, so I will read what the ninny stated, and I'm calling her the ninny because I'm not going to disclose her name. So here we go. These are the facts that I know. So she's asserting this as factual, okay? The police have closed this case. I'm kind of surprised that the police would close this case so quickly. Children and youth have closed this case. I'm surprised that children and youth will have closed this case so quickly, knowing how children and youth usually work. The school district has not terminated this employee. I would be surprised if they would, not because of the employee being innocent, but because the West Shore School District does not correct any of their staff member, and the administrator himself needs some correction. Okay, both. Now, this is the part that got me, okay? This is the part that got me. Both general education and special education teachers have confirmed and verified that unrestricted restroom access is not, and she puts not in capital letters, listed as an accommodation on the child's IEP. So I said, okay. I said, well, and my question to the person still is how do you know what is on that student's IEP? And do you understand that by you making this statement, you are stating that both the general ed teacher and the special education teacher has violated confidentiality? She continues, I hate to play the devil's advocate. No, but you're playing it, right? But actual eyewitnesses that were in the room testified that this employee did not grab nor shake the child. And a lot of what this woman is stating is fabricated. Now, typical West Shore administration and typical West Shore school district, they are calling the parents a liar, which is actually very typical in the West Shore School District. When a parent raises a concern of something that they are doing that is a violation of a law, the Constitution, or whatever the case may be, the West Shore administration and the board, okay, certain members of the board will quickly label the parent a liar and other labels that I have seen. It is not said why the school would call anything this employee did a restraint, as eyewitnesses have come out and stated that this is also false. Well, my dear, let me help you understand. Okay, in Pennsylvania, you are not allowed to grab a student up and hold them and not let them go. That is restraint. Okay, now if the child is acting out of sorts, it's a danger to themselves, it's a danger to staff, it's a danger to other students, then, to a degree, restraints can take place, okay? But you are not allowed to restrain any child that is compliant, and this child, to my understanding, was compliant. Also, it has been told that this woman has made accusations of abuse at a separate school as well. Again, they're calling the parents a liar. Now, they're targeting her, but it was mom and dad that both spoke. Either way, my above comments are all facts. So she's stating that this is all facts. But yet, when I question her online, okay, then she's like, well, I'm not saying that I know this for a fact. So which is it? But anyway, comments are all facts. Take it for what it's worth. In today's society, we have tried our best to seek truth. The truth will come out, and I hope that you cover it in your broadcast when it does. So, if in any event what she is stating is true, and we have evidence that is true, will we cover it in the broadcast? Most definitely. However, to state that we were disclosing misinformation when you can go to the West Shore School District archive and pull up the video and see it yourself, you really do have some nerve. Okay. But getting back to the most important part here is I honestly think that it's audacious, okay, of her to come out and post this. But then again, I thank God that she did, because she proved our point that we've been stating about the West Shore administration and their administrator. Okay. They have no regard for rules, laws, and regulations. Okay. They have no regards for the Constitution either. And they have no regards for your religion unless they're making something out of it, okay, meaning cash. So, that being stated, to state here that both the general education teachers and the special education teachers, plural, have confirmed and verified that this is true, and also put out what is or is not in that IEP. Well, my dear, let's talk facts. That is a violation of FERPA, okay, and other things. So thank you for admitting to the public in Central PA what we've been saying for years. You just admitted it. Okay. So today's topic basically is, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, are school administrators and staff allowed to disclose the contents of an IEP to others without parental consent? So let's talk facts. 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 Because she loves facts. So let's give her some facts, guys. Come on, let's go. Okay, so here we go. In the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, school administrators and staff are prohibited from discussing the content of a student's individual education program, which is the IEP, without parental consent and knowledge, primarily to protect student privacy and ensure compliance with federal and state confidentiality requirements. Interesting. The IEP is part of the student's education records, and unauthorized disclosure violates FERPA. And you'll find that on 20 USC 1232 34 CFR Part 99, which applies to all schools receiving federal funds. It also implicates the Individuals with Disability Education Act, which is IDEA. And you'll find that on 20 USC 1400 ET sequence, which incorporates FERPA's confidentiality protections for special education records and requires safeguards for personally identifiable information. So, bam, they violated it. Pennsylvania aligns with these through its public school code, and the school code is 24 PS 1409 for health related records, and regulations like 22 PA 15.9, which mandates parental consent before releasing personally identifying information about protected handicapped students. So tell me that with the statement that this nanny made, that was not violated. Let's continue. And I'm going to keep the statement right there. You convince yourself. These laws exist to safeguard the student's dignity, prevent stigma or discrimination related to disabilities, maintain trust in the educational system, and give parents control over sensitive information about their child's disability accommodation and services. Okay. So, which laws were violated by unauthorized disclosure? Okay. FERPA, it prohibits disclosure of education records, including the IEPs, without consent, except in narrow cases like a school officials with legitimate educational interests, like their teacher, per se. IDEA reinforces confidentiality for special education information, and potential state laws overlap, including professional conduct and standards for educators. So we see what the ninny here is stating. Okay, tell me that the IEP, okay, and that FERPA and IDEA was not violated. It was, because she's stating these are the facts. She's stating this is what happened, which we're still investigating. Granted, we will continue to investigate that this is indeed what she's claiming happened. I tend to believe the parent, because I have dealt with the West Shore School District for many years, and I know a lot of special ed parents have pulled the special ed children out of the West Shore School District and put them in alternate education because of stunts like this. Okay, because they have no respect for the parents and much less the special ed children. So, what are the implied repercussions for staff? Because if they violated this, which obviously they did, so there are repercussions. Now, I'll have you know that, typical TOSTOS, typical West Shore School District administration, of course, the teachers should have been put on administrative leave until further investigation. And I'm sorry, an investigation takes more than usually 48 hours to conduct, okay? They haven't slapped these teachers in the hand. They have not put them on administrative leave. They have not suspended them. They've done nothing, because that's typical West Shore, okay? So, what are the imply though if we had an effective administrator? What would be the implied repercussions for the staff? Okay, so let's put it out there. If a staff member discloses IEP information improperly, especially if it reaches social media, and this reached Facebook just because a parent had a bug up her back end with the boiling point. So, she has a little chip on her shoulders. So this reached social media, okay? So if a staff member discloses IP improperly, especially if it reaches social media, which it did, consequences can include internal disciplinary action, which we know it's not going to happen because TOS never does, up to termination, as it demonstrates flagrant disregard for privacy policies. FERPA complaints filed with the U.S. Department of Education Student Privacy Policy Office, potentially leading to investigation, corrective actions, mandatory trainings, or loss of federal funding, which is what I think the West Shore School District needs to experience, is loss of federal funding for the district in severe repeated cases, because this is the only way when it hits the wallet that they're going to get their act together. Professional repercussions. such as license sanctions through the Pennsylvania Department of Education or professional standard boards, civil liabilities, possible lawsuits for invasion of privacy or defamation if the disclosure harms the student, through though FERPA itself has no private right of action. Okay. So yes, the parents are called, or the mother's being called a liar, the child is being called a liar, the thing it never happened. I guess, it was an episode of the Twilight Zone, according to them. And here the ninny is saying that this is a fact. She's stating this is a fact. Okay. So, reputational damage. Okay, especially damaging if the information spreads on social media, amplifying harm and increasing scrutiny, which it did. District may face public backlash, as it should, additional complaints or lawsuits from the parents. Now, in a world, a normal world in which the administrator actually cares about the students and the parents and does not care so much about state and federal funding. So, in a normal world, schools typically respond swiftly with investigation, staff retraining, and reminders of policy to mitigate risk. Staff should only share IEP details on strict need to know basis within the educational team. Parents suspecting a violation can request records, file complaints with the district, with the Pennsylvania Department of Education, or federal authorities, which I hope the parent does all of the above. So, question of the day. In the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, are schools administrators and school staff allowed to disclose the contents of an IEP to other parents without parental consent? The answer is no. Okay, and this has happened. Okay, because our ninny here, because she had a chip on her shoulder, she has something to prove, according to her, gave us, according to what they consider are the, because honestly, I do not see a husband and wife coming out to protect their child being recorded to something that did not occur. Now, do I believe that this is the administration doing what they do best? Deny, deny, deny. Believe, that's happening here. So hopefully the parents will, have this looked into. Okay. These are the facts according to the ninny. What concerned me was that both general ed and special ed teachers confirmed what was stated or not stated on that IEP, if this is the facts. And if that happened, then yes, the IDEA has been broken, privacy has been violated, defamation is taking place here because they're calling the mother a liar. In essence, they're calling the child a liar. And if Tastos was worth anything, if he is worth the $200,000 that he gets paid for being the superintendent of the West Shore School District, then he would take this seriously. He would have put these people in administrative leave, okay, or suspended them until they got to the core. And it looks like to me, like typical West Shore School District, that they are not looking to get to the core of this. So parents, like I've always stated, if you are, and possible new, citizens of New Cumberland, actually Cumberland County, if you're looking for property, if you're looking for a home, try to stay away from any area, if you have children, that is controlled by the West Shore School District. However, sometimes you do find your dream home. And if you found your dream home and it is in the West Shore School District area, then at that point, what I would suggest that you do is look for alternative education. Whether Cyber has a religious school, and if you can afford it, if mom or dad can afford it, maybe homeschooling your kids. But if you have special needs kids special education, because the special education department has been a problem in the West Shore School District for a number of years. And as my partner in crime, Christy, has been, covering and speaking out. She's had a very, very strong voice for the special ed children. Okay. And a lot of, and I'm not saying all teachers, please understand, I'm not saying all teachers, because we have some wonderful teachers among, the teachers in the West Shore that work on special kids. We do have some wonderful teachers, but we have those rotten apples also, and they need more funding. Okay, there are some wonderful teachers, but we have those rotten apples also, and they need more funding. Okay, they're many a times overlooked. They need more fundings. These teachers need better pay. Okay, they need certain services that it's overlooked sometimes, and we have a problem here in the West Shore School District when it comes, especially to the special ed department. We have other major problems also, but we're talking specifically about special education today. So we do have a problem with how they handle that. If you give them better salaries, you're going to attract better qualified talent. If you give a school A and you're paying a school A $9 to $10 an hour, where you're going to get a $9 to $10 an hour worker that's not going to care. Children should not be restrained or manhandled. And honestly, and this is how I'm going to end this, I could care two flying figs if your child has an IEP or not. If your child has an IEP or not, if your child needs to go to the bathroom, if your child needs to go to the bathroom, denied access to the, okay, that is abuse. That is borderline abuse. That is not acceptable in any which way or form. Put yourself in the shoes of that child. Put your child in the shoes of that child. Will you like your child, IEP or not, to be denied the ability to go to the bathroom after they've requested it, numerous times? Absolutely not. West Shore School District, you need to do better. Parents, you need to use your voice. Okay, not only by going to these and expressing and putting out there what it's really happening behind these doors, but also at the poll booth. Next time you see an election for school board members, I mean, put the right people in place, because we have four, school board members, maybe five, that could care less, okay, about they can care less about if your child is safe. They can care less about what's best for your child. They are too busy in promoting agendas. They are too busy, trying to run for office and using these deceitful methods to get into these offices. Okay, it's all about politics. It's all about the teachers union, about what the teachers union want. It's really not about education. Education went out the window of the West Shore School District a long time ago. And like I stated before, they need to concentrate on scholastic excellence. And a way of achieving scholastic excellence is bringing qualified people who actually care about the kids. So this is Mariana signing off. Thank you for your time. Hopefully, these parents will bring out the facts, and hopefully, these parents, will say enough is enough and file the appropriate complaints against the West Shore School District, against these teachers. As you can see again, I thank the nanny for giving us facts, because in giving us her version of facts, she did put out there, which is what is the main problem with the West Shore School District. And if this is true, if what she's stating is true, well, I'm sorry, the teachers that gave you the info from the boiling point, signing off. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Goodbye.
Oh, I'm trapped again. Fate as always has me wrapped again. I always get caught in my life of sin, but I just keep on going back again. You know I'm lost again, when all I wanted was to find a friend, someone that I can always depend on to help me find my life again.